إلا ما علمتنا أنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا أنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا أنك أنت العليم الحكيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is Seerah session number 13 by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just as I always do, quick revision for last times, what we have highlighted last time, just to keep you on the track inshallah. Last time we highlighted the following information and concepts. We started talking about the beginning of the revelation, Wahi, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We knew that he received the revelation, he was at the age of what? 40, okay? And last time we narrated the exact literal text of Al-Imam Al-Bukhari, and who was the narrator? Do you remember? Who was the narrator of last time's session, yes? Aisha radiallahu anha, yes. It was from the highest authentic hadith in Al-Bukhari about the beginning of the wahi, the beginning of the revelation, last time. And one of the most important things that we highlighted last time, the very beginning incident of meeting between Jibreel alayhi salam, the archangel Gabriel, peace be upon him, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When he came to him and he spoke with him, what did he say? Read, اقرأ. قال ما أنا بقارئ. I can't read. I don't read. I'm not able. I'm not someone who can read. قال ما أنا بقارئ. 3 times. قال فغطني. And غطني, which means, you know, when you hold someone in a very strong way and not enable him, then he left him 3 times. قال فأخذ مني الجهد. You know, فأخذ مني الجهد, which means I lost my power out of the very powerful squeezing. Then I was left. He went back to Khadija, and maybe the most important thing, last time we highlighted the reaction of Khadija radiallahu anha. When she said he was very afraid, scared. He has no idea what happens. He narrated and he said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, cover me with something. You know, he was shaking, very scared, has no idea what's happening with him. When she said, Kalla wallahi la yukhzika Allahu abada. Innaka, who memorized what Khadija said in Arabic? Okay, she said 5 things. Let's see if some of them are fixed in your mind. إنك لا تصل. Okay, regardless of the order. One of them لا تصل الرحم. What else? وتعين على نوائب الحق. Yes, one of them. 2. Yes? Yes? تقري الضيف. 3. Yes? Something يتيم. تكسب المعدوم وتحمل الكل. Yes. تحمل الكلة. الكلة, the very weak person, which includes widow, orphan, needy. قال إنك كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا. إنك لتصل الرحم وتكسب المعدوم وتحمل الكلة وتقري الضيف وتعين على نوائب الحق. This is what she said. God will never disgrace you because you are always takes care of a family kinship, help the weak and people in need like orphans, give money for the very poor, you honor the guest by food and hospitality, you help against the disasters and catastrophes of life. This is what was the reaction of Khadija we highlighted last time. And then we highlighted how Khadija went to Waraqa bin Nawfal. What did we say about Waraqa bin? First of all, who is Waraqa bin Nawfal for Khadija? It's her cousin. He was what? Then he became what? No. He was what? Before becoming Christian, he was what? Yes? He was a mushrik. Yes, that's true. Yes. That's true. Yes, he was one of the Arab pagans. Then he became what? Christian. That's why some people in the letters, they call him Al-Qis Waraqa bin Nawfal. Okay? Used to be. Now, we highlighted something which is very important. I will not repeat it, but it's very important for you to fix, which could be one of the most important things of last time session. If you remember, please fix it in your mind. It's very important. When he told them what happened, he said, إِنَّ هَذَا هُوَ النَّامُوسُ الَّذِي كَانَ يَأْتِي إِلَى مُوسَى. This is Jibreel who used to come to Musa. Now he has knowledge now. He's a alim. He's a priest from those whom Allah praised in many places in the Quran. When they knew the haqq, they what? Started crying. مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. Which haqq? Which truth? The coming of the Prophet. They know. They read it. They memorized it. Please, this is very important. They were waiting, but they don't know exactly when and where. But generally, like us, now we are for sure aware that Isa alayhi salam will come by the end of the time. It's a hadith sahih. It's part of our aqidah. ينزل عيسى في آخر الزمان. We know this. And he will be fighting the Antichrist. This is part of our aqidah. Do we know when exactly? We know for sure, as Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us, that, for example, المسيح الدجال قال على جبينه كافر يقرأها كل مؤمن. On his forehead, you will read it. واحد بيقول لي شيخ, come on, is there a possibility, if this is so clear, someone will not accept faith? Yes. Do we have now people who reject faith even though they witness all kind of evidences about the Khair? Don't we witness now? We do. Anyway, but just keep this in your mind, especially Waraqa bin Nawfal. By the way, according to some, not highest authenticity of the hadith, but acceptable, authentic hadith, Prophet Muhammad said he made dua to Waraqa bin Nawfal as a Muslim. Because he knew, and he said, قال ليتني كنت فيها جذعا إذ يخرجك قومك. Look how knowledgeable he was. He knew from the history of the prophets and messengers, this is exactly the style of Jibreel when he comes to a prophet. Because a Christian means aware of the whole history of Judaism. Tens of prophets. When they come, how they are welcomed, what will happen to them, how they will be rejected. You know, knowledge, ilm. قال ليتني كنت بها جذعا. I hope if I am a young man when قال إذ يخرجك قومك. When your people will kick you out. Look. قال أو مخرجيهم. Are they gonna kick me out of Mecca? قال ما أوتي رجل بما أوتيت به إلا عودية. No one came with what you have come with, but he was taken as an enemy. This is the most important thing that we highlighted last time. Now I will be building on at least 60% of these things today. Because as I told you, in this session we are not just having information. By the way, information you can take it from the internet. You just go and read the beginning of the Wahy. You can read tens of references, very easy. I need fixing concepts and connecting concepts to come with a clear vision about what is what, when, how, what's the relation, why, the analysis, the explanations, the context, to have a clear concept about your identity as a Muslim. Now, the history of the Seerah for you as a Muslim is part of your identity, because it tells you how Islam was formed. From one angle, to be proud of your history. From one angle, to know what forms your identity, how it was formed. From one angle, to take methodological lessons, durus manhajiyya, how to apply in your life if you are facing something similar to what they were facing. To take lessons, like for example, some people, when they became very enthusiastic, they say, hey, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, Allah is capable of everything, why keep me silent? Why not to change? To do? Wait. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he asked us to be in this big lesson, امتحان الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم, in this ابتلاء, he decided to put us into this test, even though he's able to, by kun fayakun, be and it is, to make everything in 1 second finished, خلاص. But we are in the test. Now he was able to take Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam into a Medina in a glance of a second. True or false? Was Allah able, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to take Muhammad and Abu Bakr to Al-Medina just by like this? Was he or not? But why Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam planned for weeks and months with Abu Bakr, and they prepared the camels, the rahila, and they collected the security information, and they decided to go south, even though their destination is north. And when the people, they were chasing them to kill them, the people of Mecca, they were all looking to to the north, and they were hiding in the south. What is this? It's a lesson for you and me. This is the practicality of Islam. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hit Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by extraordinary ways, where is the role model for us? Question. Now you are facing a problem. It's part of your test. You are facing, for example, a group of people who would like simply to delete your existence in your country, in your place, in your identity. Okay? If I told you, Prophet Muhammad was patient, you say, please, Prophet Muhammad was guided by Allah and Jibril helped him in a second, he solved his problem. Jibril is not helping me and Allah is not directly helping me, so I can't do nothing. You will have completely depressed, or will leave the faith, or simply you don't care. True or false? That's why he showed you in 23 years tens and hundreds of examples, the practical application. Even though it was very scary, he might be killed, yet he did it in our words, a secure plan how to escape from your enemy. So that we need to know what the details, the tiny details. If you remember, when Muhammad ﷺ told Aisha about rebuilding the Kaaba, do you remember? What was the idea? What was the hadith about? Ya Aisha lawla?
To demolish the whole Kaaba and rebuild it, right?
Keeping the unity of the people.
Okay, what was the idea that he did not do it for the sake of taking care of the graduality of the people and their reaction? Huh? What was the point when he told Aisha about the Kaaba? Something has to do with the Kaaba.
Culture?
Huh?
What, the culture?
No, because people were so new into the religion. He said that if they were not so new, if they were not adapting, my priority, so his priority was those people, to settle them, rather than going to and demolishing the Kaaba.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. That's true. You remember? لولا أن قومك حديث عهد بجاهلية لهدمت الكعبة ولا أنشأتها على أساساته إسماعيل وإبراهيم. Unless your people are still so close from the time of ignorance, I would have demolished the full Kaaba and rebuilt it as at the time of Ibrahim and Ismail. This gives you an indication about how to put your priorities, even though taking care of Kaaba and rebuilding the Kaaba is something very important, but not more important than taking care not to do the fitna in the hearts of the people. For example, he's destroying whatever. You see, like for example, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he stayed for 13 years in Mecca making da'wah. He was worshipping Allah even though a lot of idols around him, the Kaaba. So he was not attacking, still he does not have this kind of power, the power of the state, the political power, the media power to negotiate. And he did not attack until they attacked him. You know the story before the invasion of Mecca, how many things happened. They started, they prevented them, they attacked them. He did not touch, he did not attack. It was just a reaction, or otherwise, even though he was powerful in the first few years, but he did not, unless they started, for example. Many things. This will broaden your mind when you talk. For example, the alliance of the Hilf ibn Jad'an, the Hilf al-Mutayyibin, you remember? قال لقد دعيت إلى حلف وأنا غلام مع أعمامي لو دعيت إلى الإسلام بمثله لأجبت. If I was to speak with non-believers for the sake of taking something against injustice. This will help me in what? I told you that some people, unfortunately, they believe that it's haram to involve in politics as a Muslim. So therefore, they do not support any party and they do not involve in anything because involving in a non-Islamic country is completely haram. Like your rights. The law in this country, if you do not have someone to represent you, what will happen to you? Now, you want Islamic schools, but by law, you can support Islamic schools and Islamic schools can disappear, by the way, by law. If you want Islamic schools, not just to have them, but to have them funded. This happens through what? How? In this country, if you want Islamic schools not just to exist, to be funded. By the way, Catholic schools, are they funded or not? طيب, why Islamic schools are not funded? So, don't we live in a country of equality and democracy and human rights? True or false? But why Catholic schools are funded and Islamic schools are not funded? You know, to change this, what do you need? Politics, politicians, elections. Simply, you need someone to represent you there and to be a number with lobbying to show your power and to set laws. So it's not just the wishful thinking in our countries back, unfortunately. Back, supposedly, in many Arab countries, speaking about politics, it's a wishful thinking. Because there, mainly, you are dealing with dictatorship regimes. So politics means nothing except just when they have the power to get rid of you. But here, to a certain extent, if you can organize yourself to do something good for your community, you can do it through what? Politics. I mean, my point. When someone comes to you to tell you haram to be involved in politics, practically he's doing what? Practically. What?
Cutting off the Muslims.
Everything. You know sometimes when you have the veins that brings the blood to you, okay? As if someone comes and like this, stay as is and die slowly. Do nothing. No one will respect you. No one will care about your rights. Why I'm mentioning this? You learn from the Quran, from the Seerah. Do we have a valid evidence to be involved in politics? This is what I need by the ilm. And I'm giving you an example. And I'm not just wasting our time memorizing information. Okay? When you see Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was making covenant with non-believers, dealing with them, sitting with them, agreeing with them, respecting the covenant, not attacking till someone breaks the covenant as non-believers. You come to this naive person and say, hey, where did you bring this from? Well, I feel, someone say, please. So, أطفئوا صف على اليمين. You know أطفئوا صف على اليمين? It's untranslatable, Allah. This is a pure Jordanian Palestinian one. Seerah, translate. شو يعني أطفئوا صف على اليمين? In Canadian mentality. شو يعني أطفئوا صف على اليمين?
Like cut left.
Stay on your side.
يعني cut left, move left, like to the side.
طب بالمصري اجري اسف اجري نفس على فكره. انا بدي الروح سبيريت الترجمه. anyway ادخل صف على اليمين.
Get lost.
Get lost? روح من هون يعني. anyway I mean, you know, for example, when you see Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran, when you have the knowledge, Yusuf alayhi salam, he was the prime minister or the ministry of finance in a government was led by a king. صح? Pharaoh, Egypt. Or the king of Egypt, he was what?
Working under the pharaohs.
No, by the way, it's not the time of pharaohs, it's the time of the kings, the Hyksos at that time. But I mean, in terms of faith, believers and non-believers, what was the king? Kafir. Yusuf alayhi salam was what? A prophet. It's not just a Muslim, a prophet. I mean, I'm just paying your attention sometimes how we take direct and indirect evidences to validate something in our daily life. My point is just an example to tell you how we can benefit from understanding the tafsir and the seerah. It's not just to have information. It's while you are in your weeks, I'm facing this problem. This is something, it's simple examples, not very complicated, okay? Anyway, طيب, let's now build one of the great lessons from last times. طبعا you will be shocked now to tell you about one of the great. I will go to Khadija now. Khadija, last time you highlighted how great she was. True or false? I want to highlight something as a dars for us. I will highlight the concept of very tough, difficult moments and credibility or credit. Fix this in your mind. Let's take a lesson. Muhammad ﷺ was a husband for Khadija for 15 years before this horrible thing came. True or false? Right. He faced something he himself was not able to do. Now for the first look, for some people they say maybe he's a crazy, maybe he's afraid, I don't know. Her quick reaction, كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا فإنك 1, 2, 3, 4, you are such and such and such. What happened now? I'm sending a message to husbands and wives now. When you are in a big trouble, what will save you with your partner is your what? Credit. رصيد. رصيد. يعني in Islam, we do not accept the Turkish, Egyptian, Syrian movies. بابا حبيته. تعرفوا بابا حبيته هذا? Why do you want to get married? بابا حبيته. تعرفوا بابا حبيته? I loved him. تعرفوا هذا بابا حبيته؟ يعني أفلام التيك توك. As we see in the طبعا the most well-known 3 series of films طبعا بالعالم العربي الأفلام المصرية والأفلام السورية والأفلام التركية المدبلجة. This is the most well-known 3. فحبيته يا بابا. That's it. طب حبيتيه ليه؟ بيضحكني. ايه ده you know this is just a waste of time. I mean the love that we see in the movies, it's just fake. Let's speak about the true love. True love comes because of the credibility, credit, رصيد. Now many people, they start hating their partners because when they face the problem, they did not stand next to them. The question why in many cases he or she does not stand with him or with her. In my opinion, as I consider myself an expert in this. I consider myself a tough expert in this. I'm sitting, speaking, counseling marriage conflicts between husband and wife since 37 years. Sitting, listening, and dealing, handling, tackling. Why? I can tell you with full confidence. One of the main reasons why they do not support because there is no credit. You build the credit. You, whether he or she, when you build the credit, when the problem comes, he will be very, or she will be very happy to support you. Now, loves come. So don't let them cheat you and tell you, be aware that love, true love, comes after marriage, not before. There is no love before marriage, and I'm ready to challenge anyone on earth. Before marriage, it's just i'jab, attraction, okay? You are, admiration. I admire him. I like his style. I like her face. No. True love, بعد experience. Conflicts. When he sacrificed, when she sacrificed. Now, credit. When big things come, credit plays that up. One of the beautiful stories I witnessed, there was a big problem between two parties. I know, يعني ما تحكي, let's say two parties are fighting. I'm witnessing the fights, which is very tough. And I was speaking with a third party, okay, talking about the two parties who are fighting. So he gave me like a wisdom. He said, this, let's say, imagine that this is party number 1, party number 2. They are fighting. Now, this is party number 3, speaking with me about the problem, and I know the whole parties of the problem. Now, he was telling me, he said, I know that, let's say, Mr. X really has done a lot of bad things, and he deserves such and such. However, I can't stand against him because he has a lot of credit in my history. I stopped. This person is telling me, he said, I don't blame you if you decided whatever. I don't blame this, whatever he decides. I can't take a stand against him because of the credit. He wanted credit. He said, I know him since 25 or 30 years. And he has done a lot of great things. I know he's in a mistake now. But I personally, I can't but forgive him. I don't blame anyone if you don't forgive. He said, I'm not blaming any one of you. You can all not forgive him. I personally, I can't but forgive him. Why? Because of credit. Please fix this in your mind. This is applicable. الله يجزيك الخير وبارك فيك. جزاكم الله خير. شكرا جزيلا. بارك الله فيك. جزاكم الله خير. Thank you. So remember now, is it clear in your mind now? I know, it's not direct part of the seerah, but this is exactly what we need to learn. Khadija and Muhammad ﷺ, what they were doing is not just a philosophy. It's not just, we are not reading a philosophical fake novel. When you read a novel about unreal personalities, you go with your imagination, you just read, inshallah, he did this, he should, but they are not real. No, we are talking about real incidents. Disasters. People against him. People fighting him. Now he will start being fought by the people. They will be throwing all kind of filthy dirt against him. Now his reputation, character assassination, she was all the time supporting. Why? Because he told her he's a prophet? You think that? But he told her, خلاص? Nah. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, how did I conclude this? From the words, كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا إنك لتصل الرحم. She was witnessing him in his time, what he was doing with everyone. وتحمل الكل. Now he can't sleep sometimes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in supporting the weak people. قال وتقري الضيف. Whenever a guest comes, she was witnessing for 15 years on daily basis what is. So please, let's take very important lesson. Your friends, colleagues, parents, husband and wife, brothers and sisters, okay? Anyone you love really him, or you think that you love him, don't depend on the fact that Allah has given you that khalas, she is my wife and that's it, or he is my husband and that's it, he is my brother and that's it. No. You must add always into your credit account, always. You must. Because when whatever happens comes to reality, your credit will play the role in protecting your status, supporting you, standing with you, patience from other person to you, and this is applicable in everyone. But I'm concluding this from Muhammad ﷺ, the best of the creation, and Khadija, one of the best 4 women in the history of humanity. This fix in your mind. For those who are not married yet, when you think about, asking someone to be your partner in your life, think in this way. And please, don't listen to Hollywood or Netflix movies that love comes before marriage. I believe with the following slogan: قال الحب شجرة تبتدئ بالزواج. Love is like great tree, but this great tree the seeds of this starts by marriage. Yani after marriage, you start growing this big tree. Later on, you will find the fruits. This is from the reaction of Khadija radiallahu anha as a lesson, inshallah. طيب. Now, I need to. I told you that when I prepare from about 6 to 7 resources. One of them is a Dr. Muhammad Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti. He's one of the scholars of Syria. He has a great book which is Fiqh Seerah. Now, Muhammad Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti, now we have a new points. The concept of revelation, al-Wahy. I will read exactly what he said about this, then I will highlight it as a new lesson for today, inshallah. يقول محمد سعيد رمضان البوطي قال حديث بدء الوحي هو الأساس الذي يترتب عليه جميع حقائق الدين بعقائده وتشريعاته وفهمه واليقين به هما المدخل الذي لا بد منه إلى اليقين بسائر ما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من إخبارات غيبية وأوامر تشريعية. He said, this hadith, this tradition, this prophetic, record of Aisha radiallahu anha, قال, it is the basic foundation that everything from the realities of this deen, which includes the faith, the regulations, understanding, and certainty in these things, they are like the beginning or the introduction that we needed to accept and to believe in everything else. I mean the concept of wahy. He continues, قال من أجل ذلك, here is my point, يهتم محترفو التشكيك بالإسلام بمعالجة موضوع الوحي في حياته ويبذلون جهدا فكريا شاقا في تكلف وتمحل من أجل التلبيس في حقيقته والخلط بينه وبين الإلهام وحديث النفس بل وحتى الصرع أيضا. How many of you understand Arabic? Can you raise up your hand? تقريبا 50%. Have you understood what he said? Okay, you understand Arabic, but have you understood what I said?
Can you repeat it?
Okay, I will repeat it. قال من أجل ذلك يهتم محترفو التشكيك بالإسلام بمعالجة موضوع الوحي في حياته صلى الله عليه وسلم ويبذلون جهدا فكريا شاقا في تكلف وتمحل من أجل التلبيس في حقيقته والخلط بينه وبين الإلهام وحديث النفس بل وحتى الصرع أيضا. Who understood from the Arabs? تفضل. Okay. Who are they? Such as قال he said محترفو التشكيك بالإسلام. Anyone طبعا okay I will add more than جزاك الله خير. Thank you. Yes.
I'll start from the beginning. The professionals in trying to create doubts about Islam, they spent a great deal of effort and time and struggle to try to mix between the Prophet ﷺ's the truth by way of making it seem like delusion or like schizophrenia.
قال وحتى الصرع أيضا. That's true. جزاكم الله خير. Yes. Both. I mean the idea. Al-Bouti is paying our attention to something. By the way, for you, most of you, if you are not academics yet, if you are not, let's say, connected to the world of the scholarship in the humanities, and especially in Islamic studies in the West, if you are not connected to these circles, you don't read what Orientalists, what in humanities, when they mention the phenomena of prophethood from secular, liberal, materialistic point of view. When they deal with this, many of them, they accuse Muhammad as what? It's just delusion. Okay? Or epilepsy. Wahm. Okay? Imaginary, just, he was just, it's just delusion. The wahm, khayal or something. طبعا. قال محترفو التشكيك بالإسلام. The professionals in making doubts of Islam. The enemies of Islam in general during the history, they put a great effort on this. طيب, if they succeeded in this, what will happen next? What is next phase? If they succeeded in spreading the idea among Muslims that the phenomena of revelation could be a delusion or epilepsy. Next step. Huh? He's not a prophet. But if he's not a prophet,
There is no Islam.
everything in your hand should be thrown into the rubbish bin. Everything. والعياذ بالله. Quran, Sunnah, Hadith, Islamic fiqh. So they attack the source. They try to plant the seeds of doubts. You don't know. Maybe he was, something. طبعا, it's a long story. The idea, by the way, now the funny things, by the way, I will be very academic now. I will do my best to be really as much as I can academic now. I'm a specialist in comparative religion and Islamic faith. And I spent 6 years in the UK just studying comparative religions. So my supervisor was a priest. And 2 from my examiners, they were priests. Okay? Now, from my study about Orientalism, now 99.5 of those who attack Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as was facing epilepsy or delusions, they were Christians and Jews, not atheists. Christians and Jews. Type. Judaism and Christianity is based on what? Believing in?
Prophets.
The fact that the prophet didn't exist, otherwise.
The idea, rejecting the idea from its principles, it's just a funny joke. Because, excuse me, if you are an atheist, I can understand you are rejecting the whole idea of metaphysics. But if you are an Orientalist and a priest, you are rejecting the idea of prophethood. But what about the prophets of the people of Israel that you believe in your Old Testament if you are a Christian? Because I know, I will not tell a Christian priest because Prophet Isa, because he does not believe in Isa as a prophet. Because for him, Isa is what? God's incarnate or God's whatever. Okay, the Son of God. This is not my point. But okay, now the Bible. What is the Bible? It's the holy book which contains what? Old Testament, New Testament. I'm talking about Christians now. Because forget Isa alayhi salam. Because for him, he is God's incarnation. So it's out of my discussion. Because when you read those who were attacking the concept of prophethood and it's impossible to happen, he was just a liar, or depending on what? The idea, is it rejected intellectually for you? You are a Christian. You are a Jew. You believe in tens of prophets. And Musa alayhi salam met your Lord and brought you what's the point? On what base you are building this concept? Got my point? So by the way, if I'm dealing with, from my readings, the majority, they were Jews and Christians. The majority. If they were atheists, we can simply come to discuss the idea. How can we prove the possibility of prophethood? But basically, we will not discuss this. We should go to square number 1 to discuss the whole idea of possibility of the existence of the metaphysics, which is another discussion for atheism now. But in practice, most of those who wrote this against Muhammad, they were Jews and Christians. So I said, Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Because it's a matter, they reject, they don't want. So it's just, they do their best. But in practice, they are contradicting their own faith if they reject the whole idea. And it happens, anyway, this is another point. But now, I want just to pay your attention to the importance of the idea of revelation. It's not just information, revelation. No, it's very important. You need to believe in that. And Muhammad ﷺ was a prophet. Because, from their studies, especially in the 16th century, 17th, 18th, when Orientalist studies, it was on its peak, they discovered that the only way that they can defeat, the Orient or Muslims in our areas, basically, just plant the seeds of doubts in their sources and origins. So one of the big points, the idea of revelation. One of the big points, the idea of prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the big points, the validity of the Quran. How can you prove that this Quran is from Allah? How can we know, for example, they make analogy with their Bible or with their Gospels. They say, okay, we had many things, no one knows. Okay, this is your problem, not mine. We did have the tawatur, and we can prove it by now, and we have scientific way to do it. We have. So in many cases, from my expert in dealing especially in the academic circles, with the priests in specific, they always try to make analogy. They say, we have this problem, so therefore this is applicable on you. I said, excuse me, no. You have this problem, this is yours. This is not my business. I don't have this problem. Yani, for example, now Christians in general, academically speaking, they don't know for sure 100%. I said there is no consensus, no ijma'. What was exactly the language that Prophet Isa alayhi salam, or Jesus, the Son of Lord, was preaching with? Do you know this?
Koine Greek. He was speaking Koine Greek.
Koine Greek?
Yeah.
What is Koine Greek?
Koine Greek.
Koine Greek.
Oh, no, I'm saying there is no consensus.
Oh, okay, there's no consensus.
This is my point. Because technically he was a Jew. True or false? So from one angle, he was supposed to speak what? Hebrew. Type, number one. Number two, they were living in Palestine at that time. At that time, more than 3-4 living languages all the time they were used there. The Aramaic, the Latin, and the Greek. There. And he himself was a Jew using the Hebrew. Now, so you have the Greek and you have this and this. Some of them, they believe it was the Aramaic, and some of them, they say the Hebrew. But there is no consensus, 100%. There is no. 90-10, 50-50, 70, it depends on whatever. Now my points. So therefore, they have a problem with the translations. For us, do we have a problem about the language that Muhammad was speaking? No. So this is two incomparable entities. For them, they have manuscripts and translations for the Greek translation or the Latin translation or the Aramaic manuscript that found 20 years ago, 200 years ago. This is just translations from copies in another languages, by the way. Okay? Do we have this problem? Now. On earth now, wherever you go a small child in China, a Muslim, and another one in South Africa, a third one in Finland, a fourth one in Los Angeles, fifth one in Tokyo. You just connect them into Zoom, ask them in 1 second, read Al-Fatiha, all of them, they will say in Arabic, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. This is a miracle, by the way. This is a miracle. Brazil, Tokyo, China, Muslim, child, put them just one time, say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Not one of them will be saying all praise and thanks are due to Allah, and anyone will speak in Chinese because it is a Quran. It's not Quran. Quran is in Arabic. The language is preserved. This is mu'jiza. So two incomparable entities. Okay. By the way, my point is not Jews and Christians now. My point, how to defend your history. But when someone else comes and tell you, look, you have this and such problem, if he is from this or that background, you need to know how to reply. Plus, in case if this doubt found a space in your heart, I'm just giving you the answer, how to deal with it. If in case, how can I prove? Yeah, I mean, tens of times. Now, you don't have the problem. Because sometimes, look, we have this problem. Okay, you have it, I don't have it. So please, mind your business. Go and solve your problems alone. By the way, the same thing happens between secular Arabs and secular Europeans. Europeans, they had a problem with their religion. That's why they came up with secularism with the French Revolution. Did we have a problem with our religion and our religion was oppressing us and we need the secularism to get rid of the religion? We don't have this problem in our history. Why to apply your history on mine? Why? That's why some Arab secular people, now, they are highly highly misled when they keep calling, we will not have new civilization unless if we did like the West, when they forsake religion into the corner and started applying the concept of democratic secularism. This problem is not applicable on us because our religion did not do any problem in our history against us from political point of view. Anyway, but I'm just giving you an idea how to deal with doubts that will come against your history and the core point, which is the revelation. الوحي. يعني حديث الوحي simply, hey, do you believe in this nonsense? How come? Okay. If this person is a Jew and Christian, احكي له سامحني معلش. Let's have a very nice discussion. يلا. Please invite him to Tim Hortons. Wallahi. And you ask him, really? You ask him, like when I do with atheists, for example. Atheists, they keep attacking, Arab atheists especially, keep attacking Islam, Allah did Allah. So I said, look, you atheist, you deny the existence of Allah. True or false? Like, why you keep mentioning Allah? Wallahi, you claim that Allah does not exist, okay? All the time. Allah did so and so. Allah does not exist for you. Please speak with me about what you think. You know, Allah did. Allah does not exist. Let's start a new phase as you believe. He can't.
Because
They can't. I mean, the point, the contradiction. You get my point? I mean, the idea, you can't find an atheist who will give you a full vision about how he can give an explanation for what we say, the big questions of existence. الأسئلة الوجودية الكبرى. Have you heard this terminology? قال من أنا؟ من أوجدني؟ لماذا أنا هنا؟ ما المطلوب مني؟ أين سأذهب؟ ماذا سيحصل معي ولماذا؟ Who am I? Why am I here? Why do I exist? Who brought me to exist? What will happen to me? Where I will go next? What will happen and why? This is called the big questions of existence. أسئلة الوجود الكبرى. Can you find an atheist provide you with answers for these questions? ما في. He will say, look, Allah مش كتيبة. Look, يا عمي, Allah does not exist. يا عمي, give me answer about this. Where did we come from? Coincidence. How? Explain it to me scientifically. Coincidence. Look, يا عمي, شو coincidence? Coincidence. خلاص. طيب. What I'm supposed to do? Coincidence. طب your wallet was lost, coincidence. No, I will go to the police. Someone has taken it. No coincidence now. All the tax money were disappeared from the country. Coincidence. No. We will sue you. I was not able to pay the tax because coincidentally the money disappeared. No. Feel logic now. Logic. But everything else is what? Coincidence. No answers. I mean, the point is no answers. Okay, imagine I'm an agnostic. You know the agnostic? Agnostic it's either the one who does not know whether God does exist or does not exist, or he is the one who knows that God does exist, but he does not know which religion is true. Because Jews claim that they are holding the truth. Muslims claim they have the truth for him. Buddhists, Christians, and so on. He said, I'm in the middle of nowhere, agnostic. Okay? Imagine I'm an agnostic. You, atheist, give me an explanation, convince me to be like you. Give me a question. What do you think? My answers. This is the idea. I'm just trying to give you a way of thinking when you adapt your religion, because most of us, we were born Muslims. Okay? Born Muslims. Not necessarily exposed to these questions. What happens when some of you go to the university, or maybe you are in the university, but you are not connected to these areas? Sometimes now, because of the social media, the TikTok, the Facebook, the Instagram, a video comes in your mind, boom. Wallahi, just a few days ago, one of the brothers came to me. He said, he was shaking. He said, look, the brothers of mine, they were attacking, they were, asking him about one of the verses in the Quran. Look, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking Muslims to kill everyone, and they told him, those people, unfortunately they are Canadians, They told him, look, how Muslims, they are commanded to kill specifically Jews and Christians. This is what they told him. He said, is that true? I said, but it does not exist in the text. They say, okay, but the meaning, just to kill Jews. I said, this is wallahi haram. This is, I proved to him in Arabic and in English that this is not true. Yet, some people outside try to fix in his mind, I think he's in the school, look how your religion is asking for such and such. Now he has no idea, no knowledge, he does not know the context. I just opened simple, I said, look, 1, 2, 3, this is the meaning. Give a simple answer. He said, wallahi, like this. I said, you, oh my God, no, thank you. Khalas, you answered my question. Now, if he did not come to me and ask me, they were just, misleading him, planting the seeds of hatred in his heart against the Quran, in a false argument. Has nothing to do with the reality, but he has no knowledge. Anyway. Sorry, في حدا كان you raised up your hand, yes.
Yeah, so just a question to that. So when we're just trying to talk to such people, is this a discussion about like Islam versus like whatever, and they're just one of those people that are very stubborn and whatnot. So in terms of like our approach to like the Dawah, from that aspect, like what should our approach be? Should it be, okay, like I'm willing to talk to you if you're willing to listen to me? Or, what is it? What should be our approach that is like professional or like that is appropriate?
Okay, repeat to me the incident basically. Are you in the street da'wah, for example?
So just like, just not like professional, like all time da'wah, like, just conversation to your friends.
Okay.
Or like just that, like just a regular conversation, and like those people that you're talking to, they'll always argue, they're always going to be stubborn, they're not going to listen to you. So what should your role be in that situation as?
And I believe personally, your main role, you need to do ijtihad in every single incident. You must be mujtahid. You know mujtahid? Mujtahid, which means you need to evaluate at that very specific moment. Is it better for the sake of Allah to proceed or to stop? The general idea that you have does not necessarily that you must apply it in every single moment with the same person. Because sometimes the context is different. Sometimes maybe he or she is emotionally touched with something. Maybe he or she is interested now. Maybe he is now ready to listen. So you need to do ijtihad, a quick evaluation. Whereas, as we say in Islamic jurisprudence, the maslaha. Where is the good thing for the sake of Allah? Is it to speak or not to speak? To keep silent or to do something? The idea, Ya Allah, for your sake, I want to explain, or I want to defend, or I want to gain ajr by highlighting something. If, to the best of my knowledge, if I spoke, I will cause more damage, just keep silent. Because the idea is it's not to fight. It's not to argue. It's to prove the truth for the sake of conveying guidance for the sake of Allah. Because Islam is not my property. I mean, we need to know this, by the way. The fact that you are a Muslim, it's a gift from Allah. The fact you know something about Islam, Allah has favored you. The basic minimum requirement of reaction to be thankful 24/7, on top of being thankful, basically to convey this gift to others. Because it's not yours, it's a gift. And this gift is transferable. And it must. So it's ideal, like for example, imagine yourself, it's just my very quick, simple example, okay? Imagine you are a robot, you can't move without energy. And someone, has given you this power. And this power, just by touching another robot, you will have the same power. But you need to ask the permission of the other robot to be accepted to be touched. And he will enjoy the full power 24/7. And you know that this robot cannot function without this energy. You have it without any whatever, but you have it. And you know how beautiful it is because you are functioning and feeling very happy and you have the power. So you need to transfer the power. But the condition is to accept. The plug in. Okay? You have it. Now you need to take the permission. If he accepted, oh my God, thank you very much. Okay, yalla, go and give it to others. And the beauty of this power, whatever people you have given, you lose nothing. You will be increasing the power. It's like, for example, it's designed in a way, whenever you give, you increase. It's like this. All the time, I want to be more happy, give. This is how we should view Islam. So the idea, okay, what shall I do? No answer. Do ijtihad. What is the best maslahah for the sake of Allah? It's not just to, as we say, بالعربي شو معنى تكسر عينه؟ تكسر عينه يعني تعرفوا شو معناه؟
Humiliate him.
ها؟
Humiliate.
Humiliate?
him, yeah.
Humiliate.
Yeah.
يذل.
To have
كسرة العين تعرف؟ يعني أنا ما بديش أثبت له إنه هيني it's not my point. Humiliate.
to have one up on.
Okay, now for example, if I'm arguing and I have something I can't really smash him into pieces, but I felt if I did it, I will not gain him to Allah. Stop doing it. What if he deserves, even though?
It's not worth it.
No. I mean, my point is not to overcome. My point is not to break. My point is not to humiliate. My point is to convey the message in the best way. If conveying in X way, do it. B way, do it. C way, whatever. By this is the purification of the niyyah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Clear? But on that specific points, any question? Before I continue. طيب. Now, next point. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. طيب أنا you know, by the way, and when I prepare, I go to every single possible meaning or concept that comes into my mind and bring it to here. Okay? If you remember last time, I told you that the incident happened with Khadija, but the narrator was Aisha. Khadija and Aisha, this brought to the mind basically how many wives Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did have. And what was the beautiful, excellent relation between them. And from another angle, in specific, why I need this? I need this because one of the points that the doubters or the enemies of Islam for centuries they tried to attack Islam through is, look to your prophet how many wives he got married with. Look, you know, don't tell me that he was a prophet, he was just seeking, you know, sexual pleasure. طبعا, wow, 11, by the way, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he married 11 wives. Now, in his lifetime, 2 of them, they passed away. Khadija radiallahu anha and Zainab radiallahu anha, the Zainab bint Khuzaymah, yes, Jazakallah khair. Zainab bint Khuzaymah, not Zainab bint Jahsh, okay? Now, when he was alive, 2 of them passed away. When he passed away, he left behind him 9 of them. I will mention their names now. But my point now, as long as we mentioned Khadija and Aisha, I need to highlight in your mind, because you know, Khadija, we mentioned her as a wife, as a partner, as a credibility. Now let's talk about another aspect in the life of Muhammad ﷺ between Khadija and Aisha, and to mention the number of wives, and to mention the relation between the wives, and to have a broader idea. Now, Aisha radiallahu anha, from one angle, look how great this Islam is. Please fix in your mind how great this Islam is. Aisha used to feel very jealous from Khadija. This is not my conclusion. This is the direct met by Aisha herself, literally. What did Aisha said in a hadith sahih, narrated by al-Bukhari? She said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يكثر من ذكر خديجة ويحسن الثناء عليها. قال حتى فذكرها يوما. He said he used, Aisha says, Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم used to mention Khadija a lot. طبعا when Aisha started to be a wife of the Prophet, Khadija has already passed away many years ago. So Aisha and Khadija, they did not meet as wives with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, okay? So for her, she used to hear about her. Now, and we all know that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the most closest and beloved to his heart was Aisha. in her time, every time he used to mention Khadija, اللهم ارضى خديجة, اللهم اغفر لخديجة, اللهم ارحم, قال فأخذتني الغيرة يوما. He said, once, I was taken by jealousy. I could not stand. Then she replied, now she's admitting by herself, against herself, narrating this about herself. Look, with the believer is so honest. قال فأخذتني الغيرة. I became very jealous once. A time, and I said, يا رسول الله, أو ما زلت تذكر تلك العجوز وقد أبدلك الله خيرا منها. You know what does this mean? Oh my God. رضي الله عنك يا عائشة. She said, oh, the messenger of Allah, do you still mention that old woman even though Allah has given you much more better than her? Now from an angle, this is a normal discussion between a wife and a husband, by the way. Because we say, okay, how do you, no. Now Aisha, she's enjoying, let's say, the beauty of dealing with her husband. Now at that specific moment, as a woman, as a female, she felt jealous from another woman. فمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم, he replied, قال لا والله ما أبدلني الله خيرا منها. Look now to the concept of the fulfillment, الوفاء. He said, by Allah, Allah has not given me better than her. Pause now. Who pushes Muhammad to say this? I mean, if he said, oh Aisha, you are the best, forget Khadija, if he did it, I mean, who cares? He did not. This is what? High ethical standard of keeping, the rights of Allah, wallahi. She was the best. Even though Aisha is the closest to his heart. But he did not compromise. He said, no, she was the best. قال لا والله ما أبدلني الله خيرا منها فقد واستني قد آمنت بي حين كفر الناس وصدقتني حين كذبني الناس وواستني بمالها ورزقني الله منها الولد. اللهم ارضى عن خديجة, اللهم ارضى عن خديجة, اللهم ارحم خديجة. عائشة قالت فآليت على نفسي ألا أذكرها ما حييت. He said, now Prophet Muhammad, no, by Allah, Allah has not given me better than her. No. She believed in me when everyone else, did kufr against my religion. She believed me when everyone did not believe me. She supported me with her money, and Allah gave me the offspring from her. Fatima, Kulthum, Abdullah wal-Qasim wa Fatima wa Kulthum wa Zainab wa Ruqayya. All of these six basically from Khadija radiallahu anha. قال اللهم أرضى خديجة. May Allah be satisfied with Khadija. May Allah be pleased with Khadija. Aisha said, I took a decision and oath between myself and said, by Allah, I will not mention Khadija anymore. This file is closed. خلاص. Okay, now, but my point is not this hadith, by the way. I want just to pay your attention. Even though Aisha has this attitude toward Khadija, yet look how great Aisha when telling us about one of the greatest truth and the greatest credit that was accredited to Khadija. By the way, simply Aisha could have claimed that, I don't remember, and she did not narrate this hadith. Could have claiming, for example, wallahi, someone else will talk about it. No. This is, this is Islam. She said, now, Aisha, it's the longest, and the way, the strongest hadith about the wahi. It's not just, now this hadith is about revelation. And in the same time about Khadija. So whenever revelation is praised, Khadija is praised. Because when revelation came, the one who fixed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to accept the idea and to realize what it is, it was Khadija radiallahu anha. So basically the credit goes to Khadija. Who's the narrator? Aisha. Even though she had that feeling. But زي ما يقول, as they say, I think Tunisians, هذه برشا وهذه برشا. إيش بيقولوا؟ يعني this is something and this is something. يعني I think they said يعني مش معنى يعني هاي قصة وهاي قصة أو هذا شيء وهذا شيء يعني بتخلطش الشيئين ببعض. It's, by the way, like a big high ethical standard of attitude. This is the case. So it's good to know this about the wives of Prophet Muhammad. Another lesson about the wives of Prophet. Now, it's good to know when they attacked Muhammad that he married many wives, by the way, except Aisha radiallahu anha. The 10, they were either divorced or widows. Some of them, they were elder than Muhammad widows or divorced, and some of them elder. They were trying to accuse Muhammad that he was motivated just sexually. If that's true, who prevented Muhammad from having the best beautiful Arab woman? Definitely, for men, if you have a power and money, basically men, they will not marry divorced and widows and elderly people. True or false? Definitely, they will go to young single women. And because they accuse him that he was a genius Arab desert man who were able to manage gathering Arabs in the Arabic Peninsula and to do. If that's true, you tell me why to choose 9 out of 11. But if that's the case, before he claimed, as you claim, that he claimed the prophethood, 15 years, why he was stuck just with Khadija for 15 years? You give me an answer. By the way, the sexual appetites or attitude, if I may put it in this way, is stronger when the man is younger or older? Younger. Type. For you, Muhammad was an Arab, just not a prophet. Type. He was sexually motivated. From 25 to 40, he had just one wife. He was. By the way, do you know Arabs before Islam? Some of them, they were married from 100 women. By the way, when Islam came, limited marriage by 4, reduced from 60, 70, 80, 25, 27, 97 into 4. Most of the Arabs, they had wives by tens. Do you know this? So when we speak about, if you are accusing Muhammad that he was sexually motivated, you tell me what prevented him from having the best, beautiful, single, young girls. You give me an answer. No answer. You know why? Because simply was commanded to marry by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the reason? The reason conveying the details that we are listening to now. Each one of them, we have hundreds of hadith. One of them by Salama, one of them by Hafsa, one of them by Safiya, one of them. Each one of them, they were, like, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلَ الْأَعْلَى. It's my words, okay? Not any of the scholars. I'm just trying to make it simple. The wives of the Prophet, they were like CCTV cameras in our words now. Wallahi. But CCTV cameras in the privacy of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. Because we can't go inside. How do we know how he used to sleep? How many times he used to do qiyam or tasbih? How did he do the ghusl? How did he do? All these tiny details. How many times, what he said, how he helped her wives. When he became angry, how many times he used to be inside and outside the same. 24/7, Safiya, Habiba, Zainab bin Jahsh, Aisha radiallahu anha. Each one of them is narrating this angle, that angle, this aspect, that aspect, this aspect. And you put them together, La ilaha illallah. You realize the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if someone full of hatred insists to accuse Muhammad, it's because of his hatred, not because of the reality. I might agree with you, if he married the 11, just all of them, they were just queen of beauties, all of them, they were single and young. It's not the case. How come you accuse? How come? Depending on what? Except ignorance or hatred. No other explanation. That's why sometimes to solve the problem, it's just not, you don't need logic, you need information. Because if you don't know that 9, by the way, it's 9, 10, because Khadija, she was a wife before Muhammad for another man. So except Aisha, 10 of them, but 1 out of 11, a percentage is what? About 8.5%, which means Prophet Muhammad in 93% of his life, he was married from a non-single and from widows and orphans. So on what basis you claim that he was sexually motivated? You see? But now, if you don't know, if you know just he was married from 11, ooh, okay, go to details. As they say, الشيطان يكمن في التفصيلات. Devil works perfectly in where? With details. خل على details. طبعا بتلعب. You don't know the details. Oh, why? You know, some people they start shaking, having a bad attitude against whole Islam. Wallah, Prophet Muhammad. Habibi, go and study with. Go study. Study, know your religion, but then take the attitude you want. Take your decision, no problem. Even if you decide to leave Islam. فمن شاء منكم فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر. But don't depend on a fake misunderstanding. This is the point. طيب. Now the other message, which could be the final message, inshallah. Okay, now next point I have الدعوة السرية والمسلمين الأوائل, which is the starting of the da'wah. Now to be honest with you, I prefer to start it next time, inshallah, because this is a completely new topic. But I will prepare you for this. We will start talking about the first 3 years of da'wah. It was secret. Why it was secret? How many of them, what's the number of those who accepted Islam at the very beginning? Some of the big names of those people who accepted Islam. What is Dar, or the house of Al-Arqam ibn Abil Arqam? What used to happen there? When they decided to declare Islam by the end, near more or less, of the 3rd year, who was behind this idea? What happened next? What is, let's say, the base of making da'wah with the ties and relatives and something? We will highlight it next time, inshallah. So I will stop now. We have, I think, about 12 minutes to the Isha. If you have a question, ask me. Otherwise, I will stop. Fadal, sir. Yes.
So, Sheikh, one of the reasons was Allah commanded him to marry. But correct this, that through the wives, he got access to different tribes for the purpose of da'wah.
That's, yes. This is, by the way, the wisdom behind many wives, it's a long. I mentioned some of them. Brother Jazakallah Khair is reminding us about some of the other wisdoms behind marrying more than one. Some of them, the main reason, for example, Safiya radiallahu anha, Juwayriyya radiallahu anha, you know, in many cases, sometimes when he was married from a woman, by her marriage, her all tribe, they became Muslims. It's to have this kind of great ties between Muslims and other people. Because, by the way, and this happens in our life, by the way, royal families during the histories, East and West, North, South, even in whole Europe, now, up to this moment now, you know the big story between Harry and Meghan. شو اسمهم Harry و إيش هذا؟
Yeah, you're
Harry Meghan.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan, you know that the whole idea basically, it's a royal family.
She's black.
Because simply someone decided to take someone from outside the family. As the blood ties is not something simple. It's not an easy thing. It has a big story, to a degree that you have the big fight between the royal family in the UK against this young man. To a degree that, you know, the title of being a royal or a prince, it was taken because he decided to go outside of the custom. So it has a power. And during the history, by the way, big wars between countries was controlled by marriage. Just when this country knew that their daughter is the wife of the king of the other country, khalas, peace, completely. This is the nature of the people. Immediately respect. They will consider, you know, بيقول لك هذول اخوالنا. You see, they are their maternal uncles, خلاص. Uncle or aunties بيصيروا. Just by marriage, the whole country will have full peace. Subhanallah. Yes, sister.
The only reason Queen Elizabeth ever came to power was because she's the daughter of the second son. She was never supposed to be queen. Her father was never supposed to be king. The older son gave up the kingship because he married a divorced woman, even though she was part of the royal family.
Because he married a divorced woman.
Yeah,
And she was American too.
Yeah, and he wanted to marry her, but they don't allow them to marry divorcees and still rule. So the only reason Queen Elizabeth even came to power was because of that rule.
Subhanallah. Look,
Because he married the wrong woman. That's it. He wasn't allowed to get married.
Imagine if this happened in the Islamic regulations.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why he married divorced women, was to show that they're not used goods. They're still, wonderful people that you can still marry.
Subhanallah. Ya Allah.
It doesn't work.
If Muslims did it,
We still have.
I think we'll have 10 movies in Netflix and in Hollywood about this. 5 of them will have the Oscar. If Muslims did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's still wrong in our culture, right? Our culture still, for the women that are divorced, they still have such a big problem with
The
that.
culture, not the Islam.
I know. It's so
Wallahi,
sad.
sister, Wallahi, I agree with you. That's why, and now we are, as one of the intellectuals, Arab intellectuals from Egypt, he said, جاهلية القرن الحادي والعشرين. In his book, he said جاهلية القرن العشرين, because he wrote it in the 20th century. He said we are living in the ignorance of the 20th, and I add now 21st century.
Yeah.
Because, when you read, for example, the biography of the Sahabiyat, it's amazing. You will read, she was the wife of such and such Sahabi. He divorced her. She became the wife of such and such Sahabi. He passed away. She became the wife of such. It's so easy in the society. He divorced. She divorced. He married. She married. Close the file. No one. Everyone was married, by the way. So no one was saying, because
There's no
it's yes, but it's a culture. It's an Arabic culture, Somali culture, Pakistani culture, Afghani culture. So it has nothing to do with Islam, unfortunately. But alhamdulillah ala kulli shay. Yes, brother.
The revelation, during the revelation of the Prophet
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Khadija, as the Prophet mentioned, Khadija is the beautiful woman, but the Quran did not mention Khadija.
Why?
Why?
This question why?
Yeah.
Okay. He's asking, it's a very good question. He said, even though Khadija is a great woman, yet Quran did not mention Khadija. Okay. Quran did not mention Aisha. Quran did not mention Abu Bakr. Quran did not mention Sa'd ibn Mu'adh. Quran did not mention Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Quran. Who said that Quran must mention everything? That's why in our Islam, we have Quran, the constitution, main big rules, and we have this Sunnah, which is the explanation, the details for 23 years. So if something is great, that does not mean necessarily must be mentioned literally in the Quran. It's the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributed it. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Which means, Prophet Muhammad, why Prophet Muhammad was sent? He's a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the extra now. So Quran and Sunnah all together is our religion. So she's mentioned in many hadith sahih. No problem that she's not mentioned in the Quran, because we have a lot of great things not mentioned in the Quran. Quran is like a constitution, general guidelines, not detailed. And now look, when I speak about, imagine if you wanted to mention all the great wives of Prophet Muhammad in the Quran, for example, and all the great people in the Quran could be 100 volumes. So no one will be able to deal with it. That's why the Quran, it's a book of guidance as general rule. And by the way, this is the concept of constitution. Now any country, they have a constitution. Constitution could be just 20 pages, 30 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages, like constitution. Then you have what? Laws, qawaneen. Then you have regulations. Now we have for example, the maritime law. You have the political law, now parties law, whatever, financial laws, okay, and you have details, you have a constitution. General guidelines, this is the Quran. Clear?
Yeah.
Tamam, Jazakallah khair. Any? Yes? Yeah, brother.
You were talking about love, how love exists after marriage.
Love, yes.
But the thing is, right now, it's been happening for time, but a lot of people, especially young people...
Can you speak a little bit louder? Sisters, can you just please pass?
A lot of people debate about the love thing, whether it's before or after
Or
marriage.
after, yeah.
So you spoke about how it exists after marriage, right? You give clear examples. A lot of people, especially young people, because of what they see, what they hear in conversations, how society is constructed, they will argue and even defend and believe that love exists before marriage, right? What are ways, as far as examples, or just things that you could say to us to better equip ourselves for these debates? Because you see it all the time, you hear it all the time, and people are always going to continue to have this.
Okay, I will give you the Quranic evidence for this. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do we need more than when Allah expresses? Right. When Allah talked about this specific relation between male and female, وخلق منها زوجها وجعل بينكم مودة ولا محبة؟ ورحمة. مودة ورحمة. Why Allah did not mention love? Why did not say محبة ورحمة? He said what? وجعل. You know? جعل can be translated in English, created within you, like it said, your destiny. That when you get married, you will have mawadda and rahma. Where is love? Why he talked about mawadda? Because love is just a feeling, it's just a claim, it's just a shu'ur, it's an attitude. Mawadda is what? The practical application of love. Because, by the way, that's why when you say, for example, I love you, okay, prove it. We say it now, prove it. Now, even between a boyfriend, girlfriend, forget haram and halal now. For outside the fold of Islam. Okay, I love you. You love me, please prove it. Prove it. If you don't prove it, your love is nothing. So it's not love. The real love will be approved to be a real love when it is applied. What is the applicable love? Mawadda. Right. The mawadda comes when? In Islam. Because by the way, because you can't tell me, okay, it's when they deal with, in Islam they have no right to deal with each other or to sleep with each other or to be alone with each other except through the gate of marriage. So when they deal with each other, now in my words, when they have, for example, he sacrificed for the sake of her. For example, practically, go to your father and your mother, every one of you. Now, I can claim that I love my wife. You can claim, I love you. She can claim that, okay, right. Practically, what happens in real life? In real life, possible quick scenarios. Scenario number 1, her family is very bad with him. Scenario number 2, his family is very bad with him. Possible or not possible? Right. Her family is bad with him. He became so patient because he loves her. This will be transferred into gratitude to him, the real seeds of love, because he was patient even though her family was bad, or vice versa. Right. Next scenario, possible scenario. They were married, they want to do such and such, a lot of plans, beautiful plans, strategic plans. Bam! She became sick. Post-corona syndrome, 2 years on bed. Does nothing. No food, no cooking, no visits, nothing at all. Okay. 2 years, or even a few months. Many of them in the hospital. Or car accident with him while working to bring food. Car accident, 7 months in the hospital. Aha. Now, who takes? I don't stand it. Divorce, I don't care. Willa, acceptance, support, care, taking care, fulfillment. Okay, here comes the real love, and so on and so on and so on. Or that, you see. So what is love? Love is just a theoretical word. It's nothing. I love you. Why do you love me? By the way, no one loves anything unless if there is a benefit behind it. Wallahi, we say, for example, I love coffee. Why? Because I enjoy drinking it. So I'm benefiting. By the way, why do you love your wife? Because she's nice. Because she is helpful. She is understandable. If she's bad, or if he is bad, so there's a benefit. So when this benefit becomes the norm all the time on an ethical basis, this will prove you will see the love practically, or otherwise it's just a theory. Yes.
I have a separate question, if you wouldn't mind me asking. So
we have just 2 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
Oh no, still 4 minutes.
What advice would you give us youth that would like to impact other people in a positive way through healthcare, through entrepreneurship, through any aspects of life?
Repeat the question.
So what advice would you give us,
okay,
youth who want to make a positive difference or like a positive trend in the society, you know? Because like in the media, like we're portrayed as, you know, like in the negative way. So like how can we, you know, like?
It's a big question. Can we try to? Can you ask me this question next time and remind me at the beginning, so that I save at least 7 to 10 minutes for the question? Because this is a big question. Okay? Because I think we have just 2 minutes. فجزاكم الله خير. Remind me at the beginning. I will answer it at the end, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير. Thank you very much. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.